Hello and welcome to Candid Conversations with Concord Hospitality. My name is Chris Tyner, Regional Vice President for Concord, and I'm joined today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Mark Laport, our President and CEO of Concord Hospitality. We come to you today after a loud outcry in our nation on injustice and inequality in our Black community, and we at Concord want to address it head on. Mark, thank you for being here. It means a lot to me and the associates of Concord that you would sit down and take the time to talk about this important issue in the world today.
And it's indeed my pleasure to be here. A lot to talk about, and candid conversations can be difficult, of course, in these difficult times, but I want you to know I will do everything that I can do and be to be candid and honest, and hopefully in our company help move some measure of change in a more positive direction that is needed.
Thank you.
So Chris, if you would please tell me your thoughts on what's happening in our world today.
Well, it's sad, and it's for the Black community, it is tough to deal with. We are pushing to say that Black Lives Matter, and it's frustrating in a sense that when we hear Black Lives Matter, it's returned with all lives matter, in which I totally agree, all lives do matter. However, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter. I'll give you an example of something that just happened to me at the airport yesterday. I went through the line, TSA pre-check line, and they had both lines combined into one because they didn't have enough people for TSA. And so when I got to the TSA agent, she said, "Oh, you have pre-check, go over to this carousel to put your items in." When I went over, the TSA agent said, "Your TSA pre-check?" I said, "Yes," she just sent me over here. She said, "Can I see your boarding pass?" And I showed him my boarding pass. Went through the line. Behind me was a white gentleman dressed in button-down shirt and slacks, and then behind him was a white gentleman in athletic wear. Paid it no mind, but when I got on the other side, I heard the guy said, "Your TSA pre-check," and the guy said, "Yes." He said, "Okay, go through the line." He didn't ask to see his boarding pass. The guy with athletic wear comes through the line, and he said the exact same thing. "Your TSA pre-check," did not ask to see his boarding pass, and went through the line. Of course, I didn't say anything, but that's what we're fighting for, equality and to be treated fairly. And I feel like that we go through those. That's just an example of what I just went through yesterday, but Blacks go through that daily and often where we're just treated unfairly. So, and then I go back even further to founding fathers of the United States who said that all men are created equal, but yet they had slaves at home. And I feel like we're still fighting from that moment to today to just be treated equally. We're not saying that Black lives are here and white lives are here. We're just saying we want to be equal on one playing field. And until then, and when that happens, that's when we can say all lives matter. And that's what the entire fight in our nation is today, just to be treated fairly. That's just something I just went through just yesterday.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'll turn it back on you. What are your thoughts on what's happening in our world today?
For sure, I only have a viewpoint. It's very perplexing what we're going through as a nation. Add to that, and probably what I think has focused this whole movement is the fact that this pandemic and all that it has caused disruption has helped the intensity and really focus what is understandable to me, that anger that Black lives have collectively towards just the kind of comments that you made that are right on. I think as it relates to Concord, we've worked hard to show the Black associates in our company that they do matter. I think that what is really important through this movement, which I applaud everything about it, short of the anger being sometimes shown in breaking stuff. I think nobody should do that. Black, white, green, yellow, whatever.
Agreed.
But the protests really have helped focus our company in ways that we're going to now make more actionable. Just the fact that we're here, the fact that we need to educate everybody in our company that that there is unfairness, there is racism. We all know it's bad here. And the movement, I think, is terrific in terms of now let's do something about it in a more pointed, focused, actionable way than before. And I'm here to do my part.
Thank you. Thank you. So since you bring up the company, what are your feelings on our company's diversity stance and our leadership of our company now?
Our company's always tried really hard to be not only a diverse culture, but successful in its diversity. Have we hit the ball out of the park? No way. Can we do better? For sure. Can this whole movement, again, make that more clear to us so we do things more actionable like education, like really focus our efforts on what distinguishes our differences, but what can bring us together in a way that we should be, for sure. As it relates to our company, we've always had, when you look at the ethnicity of our country, there's what's the number, 14.6% of our nation is Black. Our population in our company, because the service workers that we have, has been much greater than that. And I don't know as I sit here today to tell you what percentage of leadership team is Black, but I believe it's less than that 14.6%. I believe that we should focus our efforts into getting that kind of parity in our company, even greater than that. And we must do that. We are going to do that. We are doing some things today through our Diversity and Inclusion Council that is going to help us along the way.
Good.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. However, I will say that our senior team specifically does not show the diversity of our population of Concord, and a lot of our Concord associates look to our senior team because we feel that our senior team makes a lot of decisions that impact our associates. So when we talk about our senior team.
Yeah, fair question. Most of our senior team must have worked with Concord for probably the average is 15 years, which says a lot of good things about our company. And there are a couple ladies on that, there are, of course, minorities, but that tenure has made it, frankly, difficult because they're in a position, they're not ready to go home. We should not fire them, but it does pointedly say that we are not where we should be in terms of that balance. And out of all this effort that Black lives do matter, I think we've got to make a more concerted effort in changing the color of our leadership team.
Yeah. And I say that we're talking about Black Lives Matter, but I say that for Latinos, Asian, just our population in general for Concord.
And I took it in that context.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good.
How do you feel about your position in our company?
I love what I do. I'm a regional vice president for Concord, as I said in the beginning, and I love every day being able to support my teams of all different ethnicities and backgrounds and brands. I have about 8 different brands in my region. So it's something that I enjoy to do, and I enjoy to do it with a company that has cornerstones like we have of making sure we have quality and integrity, and we support the communities in which we live and work, and we make money for Concord and our owners, and we have fun while we do it. So it makes me proud to do the position and to work in the position that I'm working in. However, I will say shamefully and regrettably, there are times that I've gotten used to being the only Black in the room. When I go to an owner meeting or to any hotel executive meeting. So there are times where I just wish that we continue to push the curve where, that I'm not the only one in the room, that there's several in the room that are deserving of being in the room, if they're, if given the opportunity. But otherwise, I enjoy what I do, enjoy working for our great company. Like I said, it makes a difference working for a company that has the values that we have at Concord, which makes us special.
Thanks for saying that. And I know as we speak to racism and what are some of the answers to fixing this extended period of time since the founders of our country to even today, to make people more equal, more clearly equal than it has been evident. And I know part of that problem it even occurred here in our company. I remember when you yourself experienced racism in our company. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was when I first joined Concord. So it was obviously Concord did a good job of handling. I'll tell the story, an abbreviated story of it. But I joined Concord, and as Concord, of course, as you know, we have the Concord finds the GMs, takes them to 2 or 3 interviews, and then presents the GMs to our ownership groups. And ownership groups have the right to interview if they would like, or either they can just say, go ahead and hire. So in my case, I interviewed with Concord 3 times with Concord, and I was presented to the ownership group, and the ownership group came back and said, okay, we're fine with him. We see his resume, and someone for the brand has already told us that he's good, we're fine. Fast forward 2 weeks later, I'm at the construction trailer, and they tell me that, they tell me the ownership is going to be at the construction trailer because it's a newly constructed hotel. And I go to the trailer, and I'm greeted by 1 white female and 5 white gentlemen. They all look up at me and then look back down, and then the white female comes and greets me, and I tell her who I am and that I was here to see the owner, and she says, okay, well, let me get him. And mind you, we're in a trailer, so everyone heard me when I introduced, but no one came up. So she goes over to him, and he looks up at me, gives me probably one of the driest looks I've ever gotten in this industry from an owner, and said to me in quotation marks, hope you have your working shoes on. I took it for what it was. I said, yeah, I have my working shoes. I'm ready to go to work. But that was my greeting that day. And then I went with the white lady who was the project manager, and we walked around the project. But over the course of the next year, everything that I did was scrutinized with a pen. I'm sure several calls to the CEO, I'm sure, that just mentioned that anything that went wrong, that if I chose the wrong cereal to him, or if I remember one time that the TVs when he came and visit were on CNN in the lobby, and he wanted it on Fox News, and he said that I should never do that ever again. I should always have it on Fox News. And he wanted the TVs in the rooms programmed to Fox News when they came on to be programmed to Fox News, and I had to get with our head of IT to make sure that was done, even though that wasn't a brand standard. And it was just, I had to deal with several of that over the course of the year. But I said, maybe this is just him. Maybe this is just who he is, and he's just all about business. But then my opening DOS did not end up being terminated, didn't make it with us, and I hired a new DOS, and she was a white female. He came to visit at the hotel, and he greeted her and hugged her. Never met her before in his life. Greeted her and hugged her, thanked her and told her his background and asked about her background and even asked about her family. And I said, that's when it clicked to me a year later that it wasn't about him and being dry or anything. It was about me, a black man running his hotel, and he wanted me to fail. But I'm so thankful that Concord hired me, and Concord looked at my resume and interviewed me and hired me because I was the best candidate for the job. But I honestly believe that if ownership, he would have interviewed me, I would have probably wouldn't be here now today with Concord, because I would have never got hired. And so one thing, I'm very thankful that Concord looked at me for who I am and passed the color of my skin and hired me for my qualities. And I feel like, again, that's the fight that we're in today, to make sure that our names, my name was Chris on the resume, and I had the Hilton experience, but if my name would have been, something that sounded ethnic, then I may not have passed that ownership saying, yeah, we see his resume, we talk to someone from the brand, we're good with hiring him. And so, I think that I know that we all just want a seat at the table, if that means something, and given an opportunity to be treated as equals. And Concord gave me the opportunity. So, I'm very thankful and grateful, because this was an experience that I dealt with for about 2 years while I was at that hotel. And nothing I did was right. But yet at the same time, the hotel won Hotel of the Year. I won GM of the Year for the brand, and never once a thank you, never once congratulations, until I decided to move to another hotel within Concord. And then I got a call from him and said, I don't think that's a good move. You don't want to leave this brand to go to that brand, And so when I was about to leave, then I guess I won him over at that point and realized that I was making money for him and doing a good job. That was the only time that I got a personal phone call from him, just to try to get me to stay at his hotel. Only time. So I'm very thankful for Concord and, and the leadership that we have, because the regional that I had at the time, he was about, we understand that what the fight that you're going through, and we're here, we know that you're doing a good job, and we're here to support you. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'll always be grateful to that regional and to Concord for backing me through, that was a very tough time, very tough time.
I remember it.
Yeah.
And
Did you get a phone call too?
I did not.
No, okay.
But I can say this, that and regardless of your color, you did the job, and you did it so admirably, and you won those awards. You probably would embrace this, not because you're a black man, but because you're a man that really performed admirably.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and that's what the goal. I mean, the plan is that it doesn't matter about the color of your skin, you do the job. And the same thing with us hiring people in our company and doing, it's not about the color of our skin, it's about who does the job right and who does it well. And that's what I want to be recognized, and other blacks in our company want to be recognized, and they do a good job regardless of the color of their skin. I know that you sent out a letter to our Concord associates, and you're mentioning it now, but can we definitely have a commitment from you that we're going to continue to fight to end racism in the community? I believe that it's very admirable that you're sitting here with me today, but can we get a commitment from you that you will continue to fight and to help us fight? Because your boldness sitting with me now today does not go unnoticed. I mean, I feel like I'm getting teary-eyed right now, because this is so important to not only me, but so many people in our company and in our nation that looks at us. I was telling some of our colleagues that I get several calls from people outside of Concord when they see that I'm on the website, and people that I don't even know, and emails just asking me, should I even apply for this company? Will I have a chance? And so, just sitting down and your boldness and talking with me today means a lot. So can we get a commitment from you that we will continue to fight to end this racism, and starting with our little part that we can do at Concord Hospitality?
You absolutely have my commitment. I can tell you, without the boldness I should have, you always had my commitment. Now it is magnified, I think, and that's what protests do in our country. They do clearly make things happen, especially if they just don't go away. So your question is right on. It's my job to continue to help educate, to continue to have our folks that hire people through our own talent acquisition programs and initiatives really do a better job and a more complete job and a more thoughtful job of where we are in our country, who are the very important part of our country that has made it happen from the beginning to now, and how do we make sure that there's less injustice, there's more equality. And we are doing that through our Diversity and Inclusion Council, which already has set some action plans. But I pledge to you, it ain't going away.
Love it, love it. And I hope that this is just the start for peers in our business and your peers to see what you're doing and what we're doing at Concord, that it will fall over to other companies, other organizations. But I thank you for your time, and thank you for sitting down with me today. It really means a lot to myself, being in Concord for almost 9 years, and for many associates around our company. So thank you for your time.
Chris, you're most welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on our team.
Yep, absolutely.